What happens when a fairy tale romance crashes into the stuffy, protocol-obsessed world of the British monarchy? You get a collection of moments so awkward they make you want to crawl out of your own skin. From cringy curtsies to major royal snubs, Meghan Markle's journey from Hollywood actress to duchess has been a masterclass in uncomfortable encounters. So, grab your popcorn and get ready to relive the moments that prove even royals aren't immune to a healthy dose of secondhand embarrassment. The Great Scarf Gate of 2018.
Appears to be chatting with Prince William, but he seems more interested in adjusting his scarf for what feels like an eternity.
At the time it was awkward, I was a bit shocked.
Some saw it as an intentional.
Let's kick things off with a moment that had royal watchers hitting rewind faster than you can say awkward. We're talking about the now infamous Scarf Gate. In a video that resurfaced and went viral, we see Meghan attempting to chat with her brother-in-law Prince William, but William seems utterly engrossed in a battle with his own scarf, adjusting it with the focus of a bomb disposal expert. While Meghan is trying to engage him in conversation, he's just not having it. Some royal commentators saw this as a deliberate cold shoulder, a sign of the frosty relations to come. Others, trying to be diplomatic, called it bad timing. Either way, the sheer awkwardness of the moment is undeniable. You can almost feel the chill through the screen, and it's not from the British weather. It's the kind of public snub that's so blatant, it's almost a work of art. The curtsy that broke the internet.
And this, we have medieval times, dinner and tournament.
Speaking of uncomfortable, let's dive into the curtsy that launched 1,000 memes. In their Netflix docuseries, Harry and Meghan, the Duchess decided to reenact her first curtsy to the late Queen Elizabeth II. And let's just say, it wasn't exactly a graceful bow. Meghan launched into a full-on medieval wench at a jousting tournament-style curtsy, complete with a dramatic flourish. She explained that to an American. The whole concept of curtsying to one's grandmother-in-law is just bizarre, comparing it to medieval times dinner and tournament. While she was laughing, Harry looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. His pained expression spoke volumes. To many, making fun of a sign of respect for the Queen, and by extension, a deeply ingrained royal tradition, was a huge misstep. It came across as disrespectful and tone-deaf. To make matters worse, Meghan claimed she had no idea she'd have to curtsy. Now, for someone about to marry into the most famous family in the world, a family whose every move is documented, that seems a little hard to swallow. A quick Google search would have told her everything she needed to know. It's not like the royal family's customs are a closely guarded secret. This moment really highlighted the cultural clash at play and left a lot of people cringing. Not many people have asked if I'm okay.
Yeah, well, I guess, and also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay, but it's a very real thing to be going.
This next moment is perhaps one of the most debated. During their royal tour of South Africa, in a now famous interview, journalist Tom Bradby asked Meghan how she was coping with the immense pressure of royal life and the relentless media scrutiny. Her response was raw and emotional. She confessed, "Not many people have asked if I'm okay." It was a moment of vulnerability that resonated with many. Here was a new mother, living in a new country, under a microscope, and she was clearly struggling. However, the interview also sparked a backlash. The couple was in a country where many people face extreme poverty and hardship. For a privileged member of the royal family to complain about her struggles while surrounded by such profound suffering struck some as out of touch. It was a classic case of read the room. While her feelings were valid, the time and place of her confession were questionable. This moment perfectly encapsulates the tightrope Meghan was constantly walking, the desire to be authentic and the expectation to be a stoic, uncomplaining royal. The One Love premiere predicament.
Probably expected to be in the VIP section, but surprise, they weren't. Dressed in an elegant black skirt, while others rocked casual attire.
Speaking of questionable timing, let's jet over to Jamaica for the premiere of Bob Marley One Love. Just as the royal family was dealing with health scares concerning both King Charles and Kate Middleton, Harry and Meghan decided to make a glamorous red carpet appearance. Dressed in a chic black gown, Meghan looked ready for the Oscars. The problem? It was a relatively laid-back movie premiere, and their presence felt a little extra. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams went so far as to call it a deliberate ploy to show the royal family how valuable they are. Whether that was their intention or not, the optics weren't great. It seemed like they were trying to grab the spotlight at a time when the focus should have been on the health of the King and the Princess of Wales. It was a move that felt calculated and, to many, a little bit tacky. the case of the clingy trophy.
When she tried to grab one of the player's prize boxes, only for him to firmly keep hold of it. She quickly ducked under Harry's arm, making for a seriously clumsy moment.
From a clumsy curtsy to a clumsy grab, let's talk about the polo trophy incident. After a triumphant charity polo match, Harry's team was celebrating their win. As they posed for photos, Meghan, ever the supportive wife, was right there with them. But then things got a little handsy. She reached for one of the player's prize boxes, but he wasn't letting go. What followed was an awkward little tug-of-war, which ended with Meghan quickly ducking under Harry's arm. It was a blink-and-you'll-miss-it moment, but the cameras caught it all. It was just one of those slightly jarring interactions that made you do a double take. Was she trying to help? Or did she just want to hold the shiny object? We'll never know, but it was a clumsy encounter that added to her growing collection of awkward public moments. The awkward mic grab.
It definitely made things feel awkward. Another unforgettable moment came at the 2023 Invictus Games.
At a charity event hosted by Kevin Costner, another slightly uncomfortable moment was caught on camera. As the host was speaking, Meghan reached for the mic as if she was about to give an impromptu speech, but the host wasn't quite ready to let go, leading to a brief, awkward dance of hands. We'll never know if she had something she was burning to say, but the moment itself was just another example of her sometimes misjudged public interactions. It's these little seemingly insignificant moments that, when added up, create a pattern of awkwardness. The engagement interview.
Memorable moment. Meghan insisted she had little knowledge of Harry beforehand.
I didn't know much about him, and so the only thing that I had asked her when she said she wanted to set us up was...
Now, let's rewind to the very beginning, to the engagement interview that had us all swooning. But looking back, there's one particular claim that raises an eyebrow. Meghan insisted that she knew very little about Prince Harry before they met. She famously said that the only question she had for their mutual friend who set them up was, well, is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, she explained, it just wouldn't make sense. Now, hold on a minute. We're talking about Prince Harry, the son of Princess Diana, one of the most famous women in modern history, a man who had been in the public eye since birth. To suggest that an accomplished actress who was active on social media and presumably consumed some form of news had no real knowledge of him is a bit of a stretch. It played into the narrative of a fairy tale romance, of a woman falling for the man, not the title. But for many, it just didn't ring true. It felt like a carefully crafted soundbite for the cameras, and in hindsight, it feels a little disingenuous. The near tumble and the media's surprising reaction.
To dress in white heels. Now, if you've ever tried walking on grass in heels, you know it's risky. Meghan almost took a tumble but saved herself by grabbing Harry's hand.
Every woman who has ever attempted to walk on grass in stilettos felt a collective pang of anxiety during this next moment. While attending the wedding of Harry's cousin, Meghan looked stunning in an Oscar de la Renta dress and a pair of very high, very pointy white heels. As she made her way across the lawn, the inevitable happened. Her heels sank into the grass and she almost took a spectacular tumble. But, with the reflexes of a cat, she grabbed onto Harry's hand and saved herself from a potentially embarrassing fall. What's most interesting about this moment is not the near fall itself, but the media's reaction. At a time when any misstep was scrutinized, the press was surprisingly kind. They praised her for her grace and composure, for handling the moment like a pro. It was a rare instance of positive press, a brief respite from the constant criticism. But it also serves as a reminder of how precarious her position was, how one little slip, literally, could have turned into a week's worth of negative headlines. Invictus Games and milkshake musings.
Where Meghan unexpectedly marched in front of British veterans. Dressed in shorts and sandals, Meghan arrived late to the opening ceremony and later gave a speech about
The Invictus Games, a cause very close to Prince Harry's heart, should have been a slam dunk for the couple, and yet Meghan still managed to create a head-scratching moment. At the 2023 Games, she marched in front of British veterans dressed in shorts and sandals, a fashion choice that some found a little too casual for the occasion. She also arrived late to the opening ceremony, but the cherry on top of this slightly awkward Sunday was her speech. Instead of focusing on the incredible athletes and their stories of resilience, she chose to talk about milkshakes and her kids. It was a speech that left many people bemused and wondering if she truly understood the gravity and importance of the event. Harlem School visit.
From her book, The Bench, while wearing an expensive designer outfit and hundreds of thousands in jewelry.
And I have haven't ever read it to any other kids besides our own.
In 2021, Meghan visited a low-income school in Harlem to promote her children's book, The Bench. It was a noble cause, but her choice of attire raised more than a few eyebrows. She arrived decked out in an expensive designer outfit and a small fortune in jewelry. The contrast between her lavish wardrobe and the school's underprivileged student body was stark and, for many, deeply ironic. To make matters worse, reports emerged that her team had a list of demands, including a new carpet and pillows for the children to sit on. The whole affair felt less like a genuine act of charity and more like a publicity stunt. The disconnect between her message of compassion and her display of wealth was a glaring misstep. The Endeavor Fund Awards blunder.
Took the stage, ready to present, until they realized their notes didn't match. Cue an awkward silence that felt like it lasted a decade while Meghan was trying to smooth things.
And finally, we have the Endeavor Fund Awards ceremony, a moment that was awkward from the get-go. Meghan and her co-host took to the stage, ready to present an award. There was just one tiny problem. Their notes were completely mismatched. What followed was a painfully long silence as they fumbled through their papers, punctuated by Meghan's nervous laughter. She tried to smooth things over, but the damage was done. It was a classic live television blunder, the kind of thing that makes you want to watch through your fingers. To her credit, she eventually managed to sort out the mix-up and hand over her notes, but it was a clumsy start to the evening and another entry in her ever-growing blooper reel. So, what do you think? Were these harmless incidents or major royal blunders? Drop a comment below and let me know which Meghan Markle moment made you cringe the most. And don't forget to like, share bias, dancer dark career. Share bias and nest or dear derrier dester bias or your dester bias, your bias dester dance nester. And subscribe for more deep dives into the wild world of celebrity. See you next time.